Congressman Colonel Allen West is live in Dallas. Good evening, sir. And the news: the president is going to leave some. Good evening. The president's going to leave about 1,500 troops over there. Is that a good idea? Is that enough? Is that too many? Or how do you know?
Well, that's the whole thing, is we don't really know. The commanders on the ground have what they call a troop to task. And what we heard today was a president who said that the combat operations are still been ended. And of course, there's only way you can end combat out two ways, is by winning or losing. You just don't withdraw. And then he said that the troops that will be there will not be in a combat role or a combat mission. So why are we leaving 9,800 there right now and 5,500 later? What we need to be focused on is the enemy. Just last week, we had one of the, earlier this week, we had one of the largest joint special operations raids with the Afghans against two al-Qaeda bases that have been established in Kandahar. So I think that we need to stop playing, the campaign promises game and say that we need to defeat this enemy. I believe that the president was dragged to this because he does not want a repeat of Iraq, Syria, Libya, Ukraine, and some of the other places where he has put political decisions over true strategic decisions.
Is Afghanistan a national security threat to us right now?
Yes, it is. I believe that you have to be able to articulate to the American people that anywhere that Islamic jihadists and these terrorists want to establish a sanctuary, which is exactly what the Taliban did when we allowed them to take power after the Russians withdrew as part of the Afghan civil war. They invited in al-Qaeda and they established a base. And now we know that al-Qaeda is bleeding people over to ISIS because there are certain jihadists that don't think al-Qaeda is strong enough.
How is that different from areas like in Nigeria where they have Boko Haram, where they're trying to likewise get an area? I mean, there are lots of places in the world that are created. We're not sending people there.
Well, that's the thing that we need to have, is someone that can sit back and look at this strategically and based upon the geographic areas of responsibility, like the Central Command, the Africa Command, Pacific Command, European Command, look at the right force mix so that we can do strike operations. No more of this nation building, building schools and roads and things like of this nature. We need to be able to find the enemy, fix him in position, engage him with all available weapon systems, attempt to destroy him in place, and pursue him and to defeat him. That's what we have to be able to do, and that's not what we're doing.
I guess what worries me is that when we get down to 5,500, they're sort of sitting ducks at that point because there's strength in numbers. Yeah. And, it's like, to me, it's like, we're really maybe even at 9,800, we're at that point. And that's what worries me. I see so many of these injured vets, and I meet so many of them. I know families who have lost members. I mean, I worry when we get down to these low numbers.
Well, you should worry about that. And again, that comes back to the troop to task. The president did not specify what the task and purpose will be for those soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines that are there. It takes about 5 to 6 logistical support soldiers on the ground for every one combat soldier. So when you think about that battlefield calculus, use that against the 5,500 or the 9,800, and then you really get to understand that we don't have the trigger pullers that are out there.
Colonel, thank you. Always nice to see you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.
President Obama promising to bring the troops